Welcome back to Searchlight. It's July 28th. We've got 3 shows across 3 cities and 3 states today, plus an outtake from San Rafael, 1978. We've also hit somewhat of a milestone. We've eclipsed 4,000 subscribers, so we want to say thank you to the viewers and the Patreons for raising awareness about Searchlight, especially Mr. Weaver, who apparently spent his Sunday accompanied by his water pipe and mobile device on a mission to like every single comment on Searchlight's YouTube page. Your labor is bearing fruit, Mr. Weaver. Thank you again. Let's get into the 28th. We'll start in 1973, where 600,000 descended on Watkins Glen for the Summer Jam with the Grateful Dead, the Allman Brothers Band, and the band for what was at the time the largest gathering of human beings in the history of the United States, just larger than Woodstock. And while the mass of humanity often steals the headlines from this event, it's the technology that makes it truly remarkable, at least for us here at Searchlight. Now, the Grateful Dead was in charge of the sound for the entire event. And as we've discussed before, especially during this time period, the Grateful Dead sound system was a constantly evolving laboratory for the full salaried sound engineers who were determined to give spectators on the first row and the very last row the exact same sonic clarity, something that became increasingly difficult as the Megadeth era kicked off here in the summer of 1973 with massive stadium shows at Campus Stadium in Santa Barbara, Kezar in San Francisco, RFK in DC, and then of course here in Watkins Glen on the 28th. How do you deliver sonic clarity to audience members 100 yards, 500 yards, or even 1,000 yards from the stage? The answer is, of course, delay tower, something that we see at every major music festival today. But in 1973, this technology was in its infancy. And what do we mean? What technology? Well, as you can imagine, and you're probably aware of, electronic signals travel much faster than sound waves do through air. How much faster? Well, electronic signals through speaker wire travel at roughly the speed of light almost instantly, while sound waves through air travel at roughly 1,100 feet per second. So if you were to simply set up a speaker tower, say 400 feet from the stage, as they did here in Watkins Glen, the sound from these towers would hit the audience almost instantly, while the sound from the main stage would arrive about 0.36 seconds after the sound from the towers, which would of course create a terrible echo. So to prevent that, you have to delay the signal being sent to the towers. The Grateful Dead experimented with this at Kezar Stadium in RFK, but Watkins Glen is widely considered the first successful deployment of digital delay lines in the history of live music. Dan Healy and the Dead's crew did this by using the first ever digital audio device, the Eventide 1745, which delayed signals sent to towers at 200, 400, and 600 feet, which created the clearest sound to the largest audience of all time at a live music event. So if you want to associate the Grateful Dead with smoking dope, tripping acid, and tie-dye, we understand. But it's important that you recognize that this was a band that was dedicated to quality, and that quality kept them on the cutting edge of technology and revolutionized the way that we experience live music. So something to consider if you're here in Watkins Glen or whenever you're listening to the Grateful Dead. Now, this show on the 28th is often overlooked, and rightfully so, by the amazing sound check that took place on the night before on the 27th. But it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And plus, we get a really fun super jam here that started around 2 a.m. on Sunday morning with the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead. Let's take a listen to this mountain jam, picking up around the 7.5 minute mark. Real quick, folks, and we'll get back to the video. If you're enjoying what we do here at Searchlight and you want to support us, you can, of course, subscribe, but also become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month by scanning this QR code or using the link in the description. It will give you access to our exclusive Sunday Patreon shows. Back to the video. Let's cross country. Let's head to Club Front, 1978, San Rafael, the Grateful Dead's rehearsal space, but where they were recording Shakedown Street at the time. And if the session logs are accurate, today Lowell George, who was producing the record with John Kahn, sat in with the band and sang lead on Good Lovin', an outtake that was included on the Beyond Description box set in 2004. It also features Garcia on pedal steel. This is pretty special. Let's take a listen to this Good Lovin' with Lowell George on lead vocals.
You want your ever loving daddy to feel she said, yeah, 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 yeah. All you need, all you really need, good love.
Let's cross the Golden Gate Bridge, 1970. The Grateful Dead's last show at the Matrix, a venue that at one point was partly owned by Marty Ballin, and a venue that really helped nurture the early San Francisco music scene. It's also home to the majority of the tracks on the Velvet Underground's 1969 live compilation album. Now, there's been some debate on when this show actually took place, but it seems that scholars have settled on the 28th for this acoustic set that was billed as Mickey and the Hartbeats. Now, Light into Ashes tells us that the band at this point would have billed under Mickey and the Hartbeats for two reasons. One would be to undermine a contract they had with Bill Graham that would not allow them to advertise shows within 1 month or a 50-mile radius of a Bill Graham venue. Two would be that they were experimenting with new material. It appears that both apply here. The band would play the Fillmore West on August 17th, and they were, of course, trying out new material for American Beauty. And while Candyman is the only song on this set that was included on American Beauty, this is the first performance of To Lay Me Down, and it's quite intimate. It's a fairly good tape for this time period. Let's have a listen.
To lay me down, to lay me down, to lay me down.
Okay, let's finish the 28th at Red Rocks, night 2 of 3 here in 1982. Now, there are some issues with the tape in the first set with Jerry going in and out, but he does step off stage during this jam at the end of Trucking, which leaves plenty of space for Bobby and Phil to go at it. Also, some great playing at the end of this He's Gone that does include Jerry, but let's have a listen to this nice interplay between Bobby and Phil during this jam after the Trucking. That does it for July 28th. 3 shows across 3 cities and 3 states, plus the outtake in San Rafael. Remember, folks, you won't have to wait until Friday for Searchlight this week. We've got our viewer appreciation show on Thursday. We'll be passing along some more physical media, some Play Dead streaming codes, a month to the Patreon. Speaking of our Patreon, a big update. We've had 2 tremendous pledges this past week from Zoran and Mr. Hogg, who became our very first Golden Road tier Patreons. A special thank you to those 2 and all of our Patreons for supporting the work that we do here. Remember, folks, if you want access to our exclusive Patreon Sunday shows and you want to support the work that we do here, you can scan this QR code here or use the link in the description to join our Patreon. We'll see everyone on Thursday for the Viewer Appreciation Show.